I'm not quite sure that I'll have enough words to tell you exactly who is Dr. Gervan Fearon, but I'll try with a few minutes because as a trailblazing leader and former president of Brandon University, Dr. Fearon's path shows us the true power of education, community, and world vision. And this year marks the first time the city of Brandon will celebrate Emancipation Day, I said it, and we have to do it with him, with his advisors. The central part of this celebration will be the intergenerational fireside chat, which will provide young people, students, emerging leaders, entrepreneurs, and community members with an opportunity not only to hear from Dr. Fearon, but also to engage with him directly, ask questions, and learn from his life and leadership journey. I think what I should do is read the short biography I have here because Dr. Gervan Fearon's connection to Brandon is both historic and deeply meaningful. And as the first Black president and vice chancellor of Brandon University, he helped open the university and the city of Brandon to broader national and international engagement. His leadership contributed to advancing education, economic, and community development, inclusion, and stronger, this is most important to me, and stronger relationship between the university and the wider community. So, Dr. Gervan Fearon is the president, currently the president of George Brown Polytechnic and the former president of both Burke University and Brandon University. And prior to his leadership roles in academia, Dr. Fearon served in government at the Ontario Ministry of Finance and at the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, and Policy Branch and the Deputy Minister's Office. So in the private sector, Dr. Fearon served at Chase Econometrics. It's a division of Chase Manhattan Bank, and he's committed to contributing to the betterment of communities and an inclusive Canada. He serves as Black president of the Canadian University, right here at Brandon University. And looking back at your time in the city, what is the legacy you are most proud of leaving behind for the community?
Wow. Great question. I might want to make a few comments. The first one is just thanking each one of you for being here. We always have competing alternatives, and you taking your time to be here, and it's not only an honor in being here, but it's an honor to see each of you out, to be a part of the dialogue, and to see the amazing community that is now here, that when we were here, was not fully here like this. So it's quite amazing to see years later and to see the relationships built. Second, I'd like to thank Dr. Zita for her tenacity in being able to say we have a special event happening in Manitoba, in Brandon, and I think we should be here. Not only do we want to honor you, but we want to have a special recognition for Emancipation Day at the university and in Brandon. And to her engagement, not just I am here, we're here, and the we is Dr. Kathy Moscow and myself. And Dr. Kathy Moscow is my life partner, my wife, and third item I would quickly say is without question one, particularly for the young individuals, and I've got gray, so young is funnily defined. But what I would say is pardon? You're still young? Okay. What I would say to each of you is that at one point, I was sitting in a chair just like you, and I was listening to someone who had some history, some contributions, and so forth. And at that time, I might not have seen myself in this chair. And I used to sit in this room here as president of this institution, and this was where Senate was held. What I'm getting at is that it's not only the consideration of how you see yourself, but it's the actions you take with yourself, almost like walking up the stairs. You can see yourself on the second floor, but if you don't take the action to walk up those stairs, then it's all just an interesting dream in that sense. So what I would say to you, not only then can you see yourself in possibilities, and always see yourself in possibilities, whether someone is in front of you or not, because then the irony on it, years later, I was just being interviewed just before this. Years later, at that time, I was the first Black Canadian president of post-secondary or of a university. I think maybe any post-secondary education institution in Canada. At that time, there were 97 universities in Canada, publicly funded, over 200 colleges, and there were no Black presidents of any of those institutions. Today, that's not so. What I'm getting at is that you might not see someone in front of you, but if you take the step forward, then somebody might see someone in front of them. So just because you don't see someone in front of you, right? You're in Manitoba, you're trying to walk across a field, there are no footsteps there, but the person behind you sees footsteps and possibilities. So I'd like to leave that. So maybe to the question that you asked, what would I say are some of the legacies? And legacy for me is always a really funny item. So I'll try to maybe summarize it as three. The first one is really the relationship between the university and communities. At the time when I got here, the university pictures of me signing, they might not even remember or know that I was part of that. But that stands today, right? And it's incredible. Again, it's not I, we were a part of that. Lastly, I would say it was kind of ironic. At Brandon University, downtown, there was the theater downtown. And that building was starting to fall down. It was derelict. And I got in my mind that if we could combine with the Assiniboine Community College, that together we would be able to do a major development downtown. And but we first needed the land. So I went and I negotiated with oh gosh, I gotta remember this theater. It's the theater that I are. I don't remember the name of the theater, but the Cineplex, I can't remember. But they owned the theater. But there were 6 plots of land owned by different people. And we got this theater, which was the land worth millions, donated to the university.
Wow.
And then we negotiated with the landowners to turn the land, their lands, either have purchased or turn it over to the university. And that meant that became a block of lands downtown. So there was a sign that we put up back then, when I was here, about the coming university downtown, okay? And what we did was we signed an agreement with the city that if we didn't use it in 2 years, it would go back to the city, it would go to the city. So guess what that meant? That meant that the city then had a block of land for future development. So one day, there will be a future development down there. And that was a part of that vision of not simply about what was going to happen to the university, but the idea that the university could be a catalyst for downtown development.
Now you understand why I said he was not only the president of this university, he was a trailblazing leader and he really developed Dr. Gervan Fearon. But if I don't know if somebody has a question or comments, because if you don't, I have like 3 pages here.
No, they all were like, okay, we all have questions.
Okay, please, you just, yeah, we can go.
How can young people start building strong mentorship when they feel like they don't have connection yet?
Okay, so the question is, how can young people build strong mentorship networks when they feel they don't have the connections yet? I'm going to give you first a contradiction and then a direct answer. The contradiction,
I think we should take like 2 or 3 minutes.
okay,
Hope everybody can have a chance.
yeah, okay. Oh, okay, so
Because you want to,
yeah, I've got that one, so we'll go on to the next question.
okay, next person.
As a black man, what characteristics would you say contributed to where you are now?
As a black man, what characteristic?
You say contributed to
Where you are now.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. And your question? You? Yes.
What is the aspect of it?
What is the most difficult aspect of being a leader?
Okay, let's take a last one.
And then I just got a question. So what were some of the hardships that you went through getting into the positions you did? And then what were some of the ways that you got around them and worked through them?
Okay, why don't I take that?
Yes, please.
Okay, so starting off with the mentorship network, the first item I would say is maybe a personal philosophy in that I engage with the world from the point of view of partnership. So I don't engage with the world from the point of view of mentorship or networking because I want something. I engage in the world because I want to share something. So I think if you want to build great mentorship and network, is ask what is it that you're actually wanting to share. And I think if you approach it from what you want to share, then everyone you meet will want to share with you too. So build great mentorship network because it is that you want to share something. And sharing something that is easy to share amongst us all is sharing a contribution to humanity. Because that means that every time you interact with a person, is that you're asking yourself, how can I share a contribution to humanity, which that human in front of you will be able to appreciate. And if you do that, then you'll find that you'll have many social networks, because it's what you are sharing, and then you're building the bridges for what others can share with you. The next one is characteristics that contributed for me to being where I am today
As a black.
as a black man. Wait 1 second, I am? Hey. So as a black man, what I would say is the recognition, the first item is that as a black person, not just a black man, as a black person, there is a good probability that when you walk into the room, you're the only one in the room. Good probability. I've been to Nigeria and Kenya and South Africa, Tanzania. When I walk in the room, you know what's funny? Is I'm also the only one in the room. Because I'm the only Canadian in the room. So my comment to you that contributed a characteristic is be comfortable that you might be the only one in any room. But that doesn't mean that you don't belong in that room. That doesn't mean that you can't do something in that room. That doesn't mean that you can't be the leader in that room. So the first characteristic is just recognizing that you being the only one in any space doesn't mean that you're misplaced. And if somebody makes you feel misplaced, then recognize that's not your wrong, right? It's their inability to actually see that you belong. So it's not about you. And recognize the second one, not everything is about you. And my wife Kathy is here, so that second one is not me speaking. The third item I would say to you is build the capacity to achieve the dreams you have. Right? If you don't build the capacity, then the opportunity might be right in front of you, and you can't realize it because you didn't build the capacity to realize that dream. And that for me is the saddest moment. Is that sad moment when all of a sudden somebody says, you could do this, because they see the capacity in you, and they go, but you need to have that. And you realize that you didn't recognize that when you were young, right? And that's why education to me is so important. It's not building the capacity for where you are, but it's creating the doors to where you could be. Lastly, because I need to respect the set of items, I'm going to do a personal finance statement because we all get older. Any society, somebody I met last night studying economics. The simple economic statement is investment. But remember, you don't have investment if you don't have savings. And that means at a personal finance level, that people quite often don't recognize, is that no matter what your income is, if your consumption exceeds your income, then in the long run you have a problem. And that simple principle, it's the same thing when I was president here. We need to make sure that we were not running a deficit. Because if we did, we couldn't invest in the future. If you're running a business, if you're running a deficit, you can't invest in the future. In your home, if you're running a deficit, you can't invest in the future. And it's the investment in the future that's planting the seed. So what I would say to you is having those basic items, what contributes, that means if, it's, I almost want to back to that I'm a black man, right? So, so somewhere between Snoop and Bob Marley is probably my hardcore philosophy, right? Is if money is your problem, then your dreams cannot be your goals. And you might sound like a stupid comment, but what I mean, if you wake up every morning worrying about the bills, then it's going to limit how you realize your goals. And that means then that to realize your goals, you have to eliminate all the noise that's going to distract you from them, right? It doesn't mean you eliminate them, but even turn them down. And if you could turn down the noise, then you could focus deeper and better at your goals. And it doesn't mean that we don't have struggles, but it means that at least we know what we're trying to do. We know we need to turn down the noise. So the next one, most difficult aspect of being a black leader. There was a really interesting stats that came out of a survey in 2017 from Universities of Canada, and it was published in 2019. And it showed that there was 0.97, or I think 0.9% of of university presidents were Black. So it was 1% of the 100 universities. So guess what? It was me. Okay? So I was the 1%. So it used to be in corporations for boards, succession planning is very important. And in succession planning, what quite often happens, there's this item in succession planning that goes like this. If you get hit by a bus, what's your succession plan? And I realized if I get hit by a bus, there are no Black presidents in Canada. So what was my succession plan? To make sure I mentored others, that if I got hit by a bus, that there were other Black presidents in Canada. And I would say that somebody might say that was the most difficult aspect, but that also has become one of my greatest legacies, because there are now a number of Black presidents of universities and colleges in Canada, and it's such a joy to see that. The hard part of leadership. The hardest part of leadership. One is not getting distracted. And distraction comes in, you name it. One distraction people quickly get involved in leadership is that you think that you've won the argument. Every argument you have, you've created an enemy. Just think of that. As opposed to finding a way to, with dignity, resolve a problem. So in my world, there are no arguments if I can help them. There are only pathways or actions towards resolving challenges. And that's hard, because we naturally want to win the argument. So managing oneself, managing your emotions, managing all those items is probably a really, really hard thing. The second one, I would say, again, as a Black leader, that's really hard, is when I turn on the TV, when I get on the bus, when I walk out there, there's so many people who tell me what I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be like. If I'm not careful, I actually start believing them, right? My comment to you, one of the hardest things is being the outstanding person you are, that your family would want you to be, your community would want you to be, and humanity would want you to be. Because there's so many things that you could turn on the TV, you could look in the newspaper, with so many people who will tell you who they think you are, and then start acting out as if that's who you are, right? Not respecting that that's not who you are. Lastly, I would say a hard thing and an easy thing is remembering that we're not on the journey by ourselves. Nobody here came into the world by themselves. So you have your family that's beside you. You have your partner that's beside you. And what happens is that we sometimes focus on nurturing so many others, and we forget to nurture the people closest to us. So I would say, just remember, when you have a little grave, you know what, eh? And the person who's beside you will be beside you. So, to it all, don't forget to nurture the person beside you, okay? It's hard to say, but true, okay?
I think there should be other questions.
What?
He's speaking like a book.
Oh, I speak like a book. Yeah, sorry, you have one over there.
do you stay motivated during difficult times?
How do I stay motivated? So when I was a student, I used to study really late, and I still work really late, and so forth. And there was anyone from Jamaica here, a Jamaican background? Okay, a couple at the back, okay. So there was I don't even remember who wrote the song. And I can't remember the words in perfectly anymore, but it was equivalent to, the song is, "They thought I could not." I'll try to remember the song. And I remember I used to periodically sing that song, because interestingly enough, for those of you, and Kathy knows this, I don't know if anybody else knows this, I'm dyslexic. So all the way through school, lots of people thought I couldn't, right? I was really fortunate that while I couldn't decode words very easily, and I still can't, I could solve equations very quickly. So what was difficult for others was easy for me, and what was easy for others was hard for me. And that was really great, because it meant what they couldn't do, I thought was so easy. And if you could do that, then you could get away with so many other things. So where am I going with this? So I used to just find ways of motivating myself, sometimes through songs, sometimes through goals, sometimes in recognizing, asking myself, what's the strategies that I need to use to succeed, and constantly just learning and wanting to make a contribution, and then making sure that I didn't stop, because the contributions I want to make were more important than my fatigue times.
Wow.
Just want to ask a question out of curiosity. Out of all your previous positions and credentials, with your love for education, what led you to this position?
You mean like being president?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
I often would see something, and I wanted to do something, and I asked myself, how can I be in a position to do this, address what I wanted to see change, right? And what that leads me, or led me to do, is it then led me to first going, because I have my learning challenges, I always wanted to say, well, what if teachers approach things slightly different? So then I go, oh, that's interesting, so why don't you be the teacher? Okay, so then I'm the teacher. I taught my first course even before, at university, before I finished my master's, right?
Yeah.
Then I end up teaching, and then I go, okay, well, why don't you change the program and make it more accessible to students? Oh, you can't do that unless you are the director or something of the program. Oh, okay, well, I'd like to have this program reach more people. Oh, you can't do that unless you're the dean. Yeah, I kept asking questions and asking the next question, and what position and what capacity do I need to do that? And that is, so I didn't wake up one morning and go, I want to be president of a university.
Right.
No, I'm actually, at this point, I've been president of 2 universities and a polytechnic. I don't think I don't even know if there are 5 Canadians who've been president of 2 universities and a polytechnic. Yeah, there might be, I know of 2 others, that's all.
Any other question?
You can ask a question. Yes, go ahead.
How did your role help in shaping the president?
So this is a really great question. How I was brought up, did it shape who I am today? I was brought up first with We have a family story, and it goes like this. My grandfather was supposed to be a teacher, and we had lots of teachers at my grandparents' generation. But at the time, farming was more profitable, so he became a farmer. And my father's generation was the first generation not to have enough land to continue farming. So they were the generation being displaced off of the land. It's a human story, building up urban centers, right? So as a family, we say, we don't have any land, so we have to farm education. Yeah. And that very early statement meant that for us, the reason why my parents came to Canada was literally for us to have access to post-secondary education. So for me, it was not simply me achieving my goals as much as it was me achieving the aspirations of my parents' dreams as well. The other part of it is that I grew up in a community where education was really material, right? I know that there are a number of students here that I've met, let's say from Nigeria. I've been to Nigeria. I know how education is held in esteem in Nigeria. That means that that's a part of how you've grown up. When you come into a society that might say to you that we don't expect you to be this or that, how come you forget that in your culture, education was held in such pride? So for me, I hold on to all those items of seeing me in as possibilities that my family always had for me, no matter what others might have for me. Because again, I had a learning disability. Could you imagine having a learning disability? Didn't matter what school. I was born in England. I lived in Jamaica between 6 and 9. I lived in Canada from 9 on. Didn't matter where I was, whether I was in Jamaica or I was in Canada. That meant I was still viewed as not having possibility. So that meant then, if that became the dominant narrative, what then? But my family, they didn't view it that way. They view, you're another child. We have this aspiration for them. Guess what? We have those aspirations for you. So notwithstanding my experience in the world, my family didn't make any excuses for me. Yeah. And so that might not have been as easy as the others, but it meant just, you graduate from you're going to university, so the teachers say that you have this reading problem. That's interesting. Tell us when you're getting to university. So I actually accelerated to high school. And I didn't do great. Back then we had grade 13. I didn't do grade 13. I only did grade 12 and went to university. I did all my grade 13 courses in grade 12. Remember, at the same time, my classmates would say he has a reading problem. Yeah. And that's because my family, that's only interesting. It's meant that I will have to have different strategies and different approaches, but it didn't mean that I couldn't live up to my own possibilities, whatever they were. And nobody would have mattered as a family what I did. It was the big item, was that I did the best of my ability. So my parents, when I was in grade 7, my siblings' report cards were always good, and mine was always not so good, except in math. So my parents basically said, we're going to stop looking at your report card. But we're only going to ask you one question. Did you try your best? So what happened is that all I had to do was say, I tried my best, and my parents said that was good enough. And that family foundation meant that I only had one obligation, was always to know in life, I tried my best. And that was from a kid. because they couldn't cope with reading my report card, because the teachers would give me 47 and said, he tries really hard. And my parents would look at the he tried really hard, and they were so proud. But I got 47. And through that, I learned how to be my best.
You guys are playing
Yeah, challenge yourself. I tell you, even when I was, I used to have an experiment when I was in government, and even sometimes I do now every month, I would ask myself, can I improve my productivity by 5%? You might think that's a stupid comment. Could you get that memo out in 50 minutes? Not an hour. Could you get that budget done in a week as opposed to a month? Could you get that strategic plan written in a day, not a year? Right? Could you get an A by studying 5 hours, not 10? Right? What I'm getting at is that statement of doing your best meant that I lived a life of continuous improvement. I still it doesn't stop. It means everything we do, we ask ourselves, can I be a better version of that? Doesn't mean that we are the best version, but can I be a better version of that?
Any other question, please?
I might be intense with them.
No, you're quite
I think we're learning too, right? With the gray hair. Well, if the youth don't, and how about us? Yes?
I have a question for the room. How many schools have Black History Associations?
In Manitoba, I guess?
In this room? I know Steinbach does. Purpose Plains, anyone? Neelan? No Black History? There is? Vincent Massey?
Well, the student union is trying, we're working with them to get that at Massey.
But nothing in Purpose Plains.
How about, well, we got the Brandon University Student Union in the room. Yeah. So,
And Brandon University? Yes? A lot of stuff going on?
one of the executives are here. Michael, talk now.
Yes, so we at the union, we've been trying to, implement more opportunities for our Black students. We're working with our Black student rep to better opportunities for students here. It's a bit of a challenge most times, especially because it's got the influx of Black students into Brandon is sort of a new thing, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I used to live here, and there was I was just saying, you count the number of Black students.
Yeah, I was in Crocus as well. We didn't have a Black student history or.
Yeah, I worked there for 7 years, that's why I asked for Crocus.
But Crocus, the amount of, I would graduate in 2023, half of my class was full of Black students, so things are changing. It's just gonna take a lot more time, but we're setting the ground for those changes now.
And I asked the question, because I'm with Black History Manitoba Celebration Committee in Winnipeg, and I haven't heard anything. Until I got the invite for today, and went, wow, we have Black students there. I couldn't wait to come out and see some faces, so. Yeah, we look forward to hearing anything. And if I can come out and assist, I'll come out. And we have a lot of other members that would be willing to come out as well.
Yes. Thank you Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much,
coming.
Papa Andre, for coming here today. Papa Andre is one of the executives at Black History Manitoba, and it was very important for us that Black History Manitoba representative be in the room today. So thank you, Papa, doing great work, and as I keep saying, from all of our Black community across Manitoba, for us, this is intentional. Brandon is first, but that doesn't mean that other community are last, because this bus will be going across Manitoba. So thank you, Papa, for being here today.
We should also recognize the support of these Brandon University students.
Yes. Michael is one of the executives.
So one of the board of directors of this school.
And we do have Brandon University Board of Director member, Mr. Sunday. Board of Governors. Thank you. Here with us this morning as well. Thank you for being here. And also he's running for
Yeah, I'm running for city council.
City Council.
Wow.
I've been there before.
Yes, he was actually the first, you were the first black, am I right? First black councillor in Brandon. And now he's coming back again. So please go vote, all of you. I would like to say thank you to all of you for being here today. I am joined here by my chair-elect, Mr. Patrick Chiobo, for Black Manitoba Chamber of Commerce. And also with two of our chair of the youth chamber, with all of our youth from Steinbach, and the vice chair, Miss Beth, and Ngoji? Oji, our vice chair, Oji. Yes, at the chamber, we are the only chamber that have within our structure, we provide space for our youth, very important. As you heard Dr. Gervan today, all of this work are not done alone. We are very intentional with our allyship and collaboration, because for us to be able to work and forge forward, we need our community. Everyone is a plus and have a place. So thank you. I would like to thank our volunteer today, Ms. Peter, Mr. Dwayne. Thank you so much for coming. I would like to also acknowledge one of our strategic partner in Brandon, Mr. Austin, who is the president of the United Nigerian Association of Brandon. Thank you for being And as I say, this is just the beginning. I cannot thank Dr. Gervan and his beautiful wife, Dr. Kathy, for joining us on this journey. It started in just mentioning at the mayor's office in February, and today, as we promised Mayor Jeff that yes, he will be coming. And so here he is in person. Thank you so very much. We thank the city of Brandon, to Mayor Jeff Fassett for making this also happening and contributing to this journey. Thank you again. Thank you to our very great moderator today, Mr. Godlove, who is the senior news anchor at Radio Canada, CBC. Thank you, TV. You see him dressed like that on TV, by the way, because that is our identity. You. I love to see you dressed up with our attire. And just so you know, tonight, you are all welcome. You're in your Sunday best. Red carpet, roll up for our very own Dr. Gervan, because we like and want and must honor our hero when they're still alive. Thank you so much for being here today. To my team that traveled with me, I appreciate you. You are my peculiar people, and I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for doing this, and keep going. And as we say, you know what? We keep going. We can fail alone, but we and God can never fail. Thank you.
So thank you all for your brilliant questions, and thank you to the Black Manitobans Chamber of Commerce and partners for organizing Brandon's historic first Emancipation Day Celebration. And please join me in one final resounding round of applause for Dr. Gervan Fearon.